while this journey you will encounter mountains and you wonder, how can I move mountains? This is a book to read, and it took me time to research, to pray, and to wait on God and look at the scriptures and what Jesus talked about moving mountains. And this book is quite a story, it's quite an inspiration. It is quite something that will change your life. So order your copy today. We can send it to you wherever you are in this country. We will be able to send this book to you on mountain moving faith. Call that number or send a message, and our team will be able to ship it to you wherever you are. There's a book to read. You can also buy for your friend, for a family as a gift, and I have no doubt they will thank you, and that they will be always thankful for what you have done for them. So God bless you as you read this book, Mountain Moving Faith.
Welcome to Kingdom Business Network. This is a program that comes to you to discuss and share business ideas each and every week. We are so much glad that you have been listening to us. And in case you're watching us on television, we are on Faith Today Television, on Facebook also, and also on YouTube. In case you're watching us on YouTube, please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment. We have numbers on the screen, and would want you to engage us on those numbers. We are here because of you, and we really want to be helped by this program. Today, we're going to discuss on how do you start your business and how you can improve it. And on my immediate left is my co-host, Enoch. Enoch can introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I am so honored to be here on this show today. My name is Enoch from House of Faith, and I really bless the Lord. It's a great time to interact once again on the entrepreneurship mindset. We have now started on a very serious program that I believe for the young people, it is our time now to advance, because when you look at this space, the truth is not every believer who starts out in business makes it out there. There are quite a number of challenges. There are quite so much to learn and know. Now, starting on from an entrepreneurship background, and also having an expert on the show today to help us understand, navigate this landscape, I'm very sure for us it's going to be a great time. And tonight we are having, I've been reading one of his books. He's really loaded, Mr. Geoffrey Kilonzo, actually pastor. And when you look at his background, he is endowed with so much knowledge in entrepreneurship. He is the founder of Start and Improve Your Business in East Africa. He's also well known as a coach and a master trainer. So for the young people, you don't want to miss this program. You want to stick down, settle down, and glean from such words of wisdom that we're going to learn from a man of God. And today, allow me invite Pastor Geoffrey Kilonzo once again. You are welcome, man of God.
Thank you.
The Kingdom Business Network.
Thank you very much.
You can introduce yourself further.
All right, thank you very much, Doc and Enoch.
Yeah.
Thank you, viewers. My name is Geoffrey Kilonzo, like Enoch has mentioned.
Yeah.
And I'm a pastor. I'm a preacher. You know, sometimes it's good. I I'm not a theologian, but a pastor and a preacher. A pastor pastors a church. A preacher is a preacher of the word.
Yeah.
So I'm a preacher of the word. But I'm also a master trainer with International Labour Organization on a program called Start and Improve Your Business. I'm a business coach, trained. When I say master trainer, is trained and certified by International Labour Organization. I run a firm called Institute of Certified SRB Trainers, ICST Enterprise Developers. And we train and mentor, micro, small, and medium enterprises on how to start and grow their businesses. So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. But I am also a published author. I've published 5 books. 4 of them are on entrepreneurship, and one is a motivational book on the art of success. And that captures quite of my story, which is from scratch, where you say from grass to grace. Yeah, that's my life.
I can see you have your books over here. We'll discuss them later as we close the show.
Thank you.
Maybe you can tell us, what should the viewer expect today?
We'll cover a few areas on entrepreneurship. It's quite vast. We may not cover everything. But we can discuss about who exactly is an entrepreneur. Because there's a lot of conversation and discussion around business people, entrepreneurship, investment, and all that. And so it's good to dissect that word. Number 2 is also the mindset of an entrepreneur. It's not just about being out there doing a business. What is the kind of mindset that you require to conquer the marketplace as an entrepreneur? And then what are some of the mental blocks that hinder people from venturing to that space? Because there could be the willingness. That word where, was it Peter who said that, Jesus told Peter that the spirit is willing,
but
the flesh. We still have the same with entrepreneurs. There are people who have the willingness, but they have mental blocks. There are things that are just hindering them. And that's why we differentiate between employees and employers, employees and entrepreneurs, because people just have the ability, have what it takes, but they can't start. So it's good to look at why is it that people don't want to start or cannot start.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think the viewer here, you need to just stay tuned, simply because this is quite interesting, and you can start preparing your questions on that. So let's start with the first one. Who is an entrepreneur?
Who is an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
A good question. And I'll look at this from a very, broad base. And looking at the different players we have. And the first one, and I refer so much from what I've done in my books, is there's a pyramid that I normally look at. And this pyramid has the bottom, which is the wide bottom, the base bottom. And at the base bottom, we have, you either start from employment or you start from a business. So once you're done with college or you're done with school, or maybe even if you've not gone to school, you may start as an employee. And so the broad base, the majority of the people in the pyramid are in employment. Whether you are employed or, whether you are officially casually employed or permanently employed, majority are there. And that's the kind of 844 system that we had in this country. It taught us to work, to go to school, to get a job. So majority left school to get a job. And that's what they have done. And again, it also informs in terms of the numbers of unemployment, the level of unemployment in this country and Africa as well. It's because we were trained, coached, and prepared to get a job. That's where majority go into. If you don't get a job, majority find themselves in the second tier of the pyramid, which is self-employment. And so what is the difference? An employee is someone who reports to a job somewhere and they're paid for that job. That's what you do. You work for that company and you earn a salary at the end of the month, at the end of the week, or whatever it is. If you're not employed, majority becomes self-employed. Now, a self-employed person is still employed, but they have employed themselves, right? And if you have employed yourself, it means you pay yourself. And I'm going to differentiate this between the self-employed and an entrepreneur, because the self-employed person has to report to work to earn. Right. This is where we find so many of the professionals, people who are like architects, doctors, lawyers. You have to be there to earn. The day you are off duty, you have no
earn.
income. You know, the day you are not at work, you can't earn. And the risk here is if your health is challenged, you are going to be crippled completely financially because you are needed there. Your brain, your body has to be there to earn. That's a self-employment space. You may not be a professional in the space that I've mentioned, but also running a small shop. And in my coaching and training work, I've met people who, when they're not there, they close shop. You know, that means you have nobody you can entrust with your business. That's a self-employment. If you've not opened your office today, nothing is happening. You don't have systems that work for you to create revenue. That's a self-employment stage. It has its own risks. And the highest of risks is if you're not there, if you're crippled, if you want to go for holiday, if you take off duty, if there is a challenge like we have had in our country of riots, that means you are at home and there's no income. These are the kind of people that lose income very fast. You can transit from here to the third tier in the pyramid, which is entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur is not just in business, but an entrepreneur identifies needs or gaps in the market, and they provide solutions innovatively and make a profit at the end of it. So you identify needs, you identify gaps in the market, you provide solutions in terms of products or services, and in the process you make profit. That's an entrepreneur. So you're not just starting a business to run it yourself. And again, you could be self-employed and you can transition to entrepreneurship. So an entrepreneur, once they identify these gaps and define products or services as solutions, they create systems, and that's the difference between a self-employed person and an entrepreneur. You create systems, and systems here we're talking about defining processes and procedures. What happens in my business? When we open shop, we do 1, 2, 3, 4. You define that. Then you put in place systems that anybody can come in and work. You know, because I don't need to be there. I know what happens, and I can train an employee to run that shop. So that is an entrepreneur. So that you can detach yourself from the business, and you can also do another one. So because your business is not to run this one, your business is to identify gaps and provide solutions in terms of products or services, and in the process you're making profit. So an entrepreneur does that, defines processes, procedures, policies, controls, because this is very important. You cannot leave your business for someone if there are no controls, the policies that define the borders, you know, and how the business works. Because customers would not want to find gaps, that the owner is not there. I don't want to feel like I'm not well served. So when you define these systems well, it helps to feel customers to have the seamless flow. Now that's an entrepreneur. So we began from employees, self-employed, now he's an entrepreneur. So if you start 1 or 2, 3, 4 businesses, what do you become? Because you have identified a gap there, you solved a problem, another one there, you solved a problem. So you have 3, 4, 5. You become an investor.
Okay.
Because you have now moved, you actually move from day-to-day running of the business to oversight. So money is now working for you. And everybody needs to go through, everybody who is serious about life need to go through this process. Because by the time you're retiring, because in business we say you never retire, you actually just rest back from your business and it works for you. So an investor is one who has started several of them or even bought businesses, because you don't have to start from scratch. And maybe we'll talk about that. You can still buy other businesses, you know, and become an investor and they run. If you have successfully become an entrepreneur and an investor, you can go to the top of the pyramid, which I call philanthropist. Now, a philanthropist is one who identifies gaps, just like an entrepreneur. But the difference is they solve the problems without requiring a profit.
Okay.
See, so I will identify, I've seen there's a gap or a need for supply of water in this area. An entrepreneur will solve that need looking for a profit. That's a motive. And a philanthropist to solve the same need but without requiring a profit. So, and this is when you have grown through the system. You have businesses running, you've made money, and money is working for you. Now you can give back to the community. So that is how I define the process. So we now know who an entrepreneur is. It's one who identifies gaps needs in the market. Your eyes are out there to see where are the gaps, what are the problems. Every customer pain point becomes an opportunity for them. If I don't just complain, I feel like there needs to be a business here that solves the problem I'm complaining about. That's an opportunity. So an eye of an entrepreneur is to see gaps and not complain, but provide solutions. If you can't, you can still partner with people or come up with business ideas and sell them out there and start a business. So that's an entrepreneur.
I'm still thinking about the young people in this nation.
Yes, sir.
And as you've said rightly, a lot of the young people, or many of the people, are coming out of our schooling system.
Yeah.
They are trained, or their mindset is look for a job.
Yeah.
You are in this, you are learning to get a job, be employed here or there. And today, job opportunities are not forthcoming.
They're not there.
Now, you're advocating somebody becomes self-employed or an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Now, where does this young person start? Especially in the issue of identifying gaps.
Yes.
How can he identify a gap in which he can now become an entrepreneur by solving the problem that he has?
Amazing. And it's a very good question, because our school told us to think the same. You know, from the dress code. Remember, we have uniform in school.
Yeah, uniforms.
So dress the same, eat the same food, come to class at the same time, do everything in uniform. That's how the school
You
told
need to
us.
fit in.
Fit in. This is how. In an exam, you're given all the four multiple choices, and you all have to find one answer. So what the school did, it hindered innovative mindset, creative mindset. It gave us that, and that's the first mental block that we'll talk about. Because when you don't have the critical thinking, you cannot easily fit into entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur must have critical thinking. We are looking at the same thing, but we see different things. That's critical thinking. And I'm happy that we're able to come up with a CBC program. And I think it's a good one, with improvement and all that will come. It helps you to look at a cup like this, and we both are allowed to see differently. Because that's entrepreneurship. So critical thinking is the beginning of entrepreneurship. Now, we train on how to generate business ideas. And one of the things that when you start to generate business ideas, you should do is to first look at yourself. Because, you know, I think it's a book of Job where it says, and the Lord shaped us. There's a shaping that happens in our lives. And in one of my books, I've talked about the SHEPAPE, which is spiritual abilities, your heart, you know, which is H, and your natural abilities, your personality and experience. These five can be the beginning of your journey. They are natural giftings that people have. And as you grow through life, you can tell this is my area of gifting. Even before you think outside, look inwardly. What is it that you're gifted in? And that could be where you start. I normally tell people, and we've seen with this technology era, where talent has become a serious area to look at. And even the CBC program is encouraging this. You might have a talent that you don't want to run away from. You can run, you can sing, you can play, you know, musical instrument. Before you even think about problems, why don't you first grow this? So any young person who has a gift, it should first look at, can I do something with this? Because that's a natural gift from God. Number two is, and that's your gift and your natural abilities. When you grow through life, you also realize you have personalities. A personality or temperament determines what you can and what you cannot do. There are people who are not outspoken, and so when you give them a job to sell or do something that relates a lot with people, they find a challenge. So again, before you think about a business, think about your personality. What can you and what can't you do? Then your experience. Through life, God has exposed you to a lot of experiences. Maybe it's a job you had somewhere and you gained experience. Maybe it's your father who had a business, and through life you gained experience of seeing your father doing this. So you don't also ignore experience. So we talk about the shape that you have first, your spiritual gifting, your heart, and your heart is more about what do you desire, what are you passionate about. Everybody is passionate about something. You find, even when we watch TV programs, and there's something that just sticks or picks your heart.
Yeah.
And I said, I like this. So you find people who are interested in fashion, and you keep on watching people, fashion, and their heart is driving you there. So don't ignore your heart, because your heart can actually be telling you this is where you belong. So your shape is key. So that tells you about the beginning. Then now looking outwardly, because that's from your experience, where you're coming from. And also experience is wider. Experience also defines on your day-to-day experiences. When you wake up in the morning, there are things that you experience, whether good or bad. Everything you experience can actually define your opportunities. You could be walking out and you keep complaining about the next shop, the way they do things, where you go for a salon or barber shop, and you keep complaining. And the question is, what are you doing with that experience? Those are pain points that I talked about. Now, if all this you've tried and maybe there's nothing working, I go to the next one, which is external. Because in every solution, internal, what you call intrinsic. Is it intrinsic?
Intrinsic.
And extrinsic. Yeah. Exactly. Intrinsic is from inward. And there's a man called Stephen Covey who said, first start from the inside. And I like approaching it this way. From the external now, how do you identify gaps? Or how do you identify ideas? Number one, there's something called brainstorming.
Yeah.
Brainstorming is just having friends, and then you pick up any discussion and start talking. And as you converse, you realize, those light bulb moment. That's what I'm looking for.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's a brainstorming moment. So even this conversation, and that's why we should not take discussions for granted, because they open our minds. Maybe in a church meeting, maybe with friends, having coffee. That's why group discussions actually have given birth to so many business ideas, because you have few of them, and you can still shape that idea as a group and make it work. That is brainstorming. Number two is scanning your environment. Scanning your environment is, there's so much information around, including on the internet. I keep telling young people, don't use internet just for fun. Internet has so much information that you can utilize to shape your future. So scan your environment, read newspapers, magazines, advertisements.
Even these books.
Even the books.
Even the books, yeah.
You scan your environment. There's a lot of information around. So what are you doing with the information you have? Don't just watch things. Watch things with a critical mindset that says, can I criticize this? Can something be done about this? Because what you've seen even in this corporates is a slight improvement on what is in existence. And you're like, a better idea comes. And I'll give a good example with our country, with our banking system. A few years back, banking was just for the middle income earners, employed people. Them years, if you go to the bank and you can't keep a balance of around 10,000,
they kick you out.
They kick you out. Nobody wanted to talk to you. Then here comes Equity Bank. What did? They distorted the market, and they went to the bottom of the pyramid. Just a slight improvement, and Equity becomes the biggest bank in Africa. So the information around can be opportunities you can identify. Just improve on something, and you may just have a better idea. That is scanning environment. Business people, the local business people, if you are serious about doing business, you can talk to these people. And that is the field study that we do normally. Go and ask someone, how did you start your business? When, especially the successful people, and they may give you a story that you can relate with.
Okay.
Oh, this is how I started. So don't ignore the experience of others. And this is where you do field study, you go talk to people. If you want to be a nurse, if you want to start a pharmacy, you want to start a school, don't just start. Talk to someone in it. And then finally, once you've done all this, so I've talked about experience, scanning environment, field study, brainstorming. Am I leaving another one? I think for now that's one. And then once you have all these, screen them. You can raise so many ideas. In fact, what I normally train people is, these methods of idea generation, don't use one, use many. You can use brainstorming, you can use another one and another one and another. Have ideas, a bucket of them. Then once you have many, now start screening all of them. How do you screen them? we normally give a methodology of which need are you solving. Every good business must solve a need, because even when you go for funding, there are many grants right now available. Before you're given a grant, you must define the need. Is there a need? Once you know there's a need, the next thing is, and I call them 3 W's and 2 H's. Which need? Number 2, what product solves that need? Now you're screening the ideas. Oh, there was a light bulb moment when we were talking and I got an idea, but let me define the idea. Which need? What product would solve that problem? Once you know there's a product, it's not enough. The third one is who will need this product. So you which need, what product, and now who needs the product. Because you can now look at the market. Is there a market for it? If there is no market for it, then you would want to slow down. There are ideas that are very good but seasonal, ideas that are very good but the market is small, ideas that are very good but people can't afford. All right? Because the next one is now, how will I be able to reach these people? Is which need, what product, who will I sell to, how can I reach them? You may have a very good idea, but the customers who need it are not reachable. Or to reach them is too expensive that you can't afford it, or it will not make a profit. And then finally, how much will it cost me to do this business? And if you can screen your business idea like that, you already have a starting point. Finally, after knowing that is not enough, can you carry out a SWOT analysis for this idea? I have a business idea. What is a SWOT analysis? What are my strengths towards this business idea? What are the strengths of the business? So you analyze your own strengths in relation to the business, and then you analyze the strength of the business in relation to the competition. Because you're not operating in a vacuum. There are people who are already running the same business. So you want to know, do I have, what do you call the value proposition? Do I have something that makes me stand out of the competition? Will I compete with the existing market? Then opportunities. Are there opportunities for this business? And then what are the threats that can hinder me from achieving my goal in this business? And finally, what are my weaknesses? Because the flip side of strength is weakness. If you do that, what we do is we take strengths and opportunities and we call them advantages. Then we take threats and weaknesses and we call them disadvantages. Put them on a scale. If your advantages are more than disadvantages, you can start. If the weaknesses are, the disadvantages are more than the advantages, then you may want to rethink the idea. So that is, in a nutshell, how you can approach the idea generation.
This is wonderful. Enoch, before we take a break, what is your reaction to his comments?
Thank you so much. My response would be that you have really given us so much value, because when you take stock, even our last show, you realized that was Dr. Kingori. He talked about sharing your ideas, sharing ideas with people. That is how you can unlock so much and then make it work. And I must submit to you that I will quote Isaac Newton. He made a statement and said that we cannot solve today's problems using the same thinking that created them. You get the idea. And I like it when you talk about the systems. Systems have failed us. They are continuously failing us. But when you give us this approach to now the PET, you called it about personality, identifying your personality. It can contribute to your success in entrepreneurship. He talked about looking at your experience as a person. That is something we've not been really focusing on to. Talked about talents. Again, when I take stock from all the previous conversations we've had, not so many people have been paying attention to the talent, and yet we realize there is so much we can unlock when we reconsider and rethink talent, And also, I've seen you on TikTok. Maybe you'll also give us more light on that.
Sure.
Because currently, the truth is, very many people, more so the young people, they are so much into now, they have identified entrepreneurship as the way to go. Because most of them have studied, they have the papers, but they don't have work. There's no job, there's no income. So they are looking at the way of entrepreneurship. But now when you approach entrepreneurship with a mindset of how will I make it? Because statistics also tell us that 90% of startups fail.
Yes.
That is a fact.
Agreed.
90% fail. And to push even the envelope further, they say 21% they don't survive the first year.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
they say 30% if they have worked hard the second year. You know, and if there are those who by far have at least tried to beat their odds, 50% don't cross the fifth year.
Exactly.
You know, so now we really need to understand, man of God, what are some of the mental blocks probably that could hinder us from getting into the 10% that really make it. If you can help me identify that, then I'll be good.
We'll go to that after the break.
Awesome. Thank you.
We have a lot that we need to discuss.
Yeah.
We just introduced the topic on who is the entrepreneur, and I think we've also discussed about how to identify these gaps at the idea generation. And we're going to take a short break, and then after the break we're going to answer some of those questions.
Awesome.
So my dear viewer, we're going to take a short break, and as we do that, please remember to send your questions to the numbers which are provided on the screen. We are here because of you, and we would want Pastor Geoffrey Kilonzo to take those questions head on and assist you in the area that you're struggling. We want you to be informed. We want you to better manage your business, and that's why this program is here for you. And for those who are watching us on YouTube, please remember to subscribe. That helps us a lot in the algorithm. It helps us be able to reach much more people, because YouTube will be able to recommend us to many others. And we are here because of you. So with that, let's reconnect after a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Okay, asante. Nilikisajili kitabu ambacho kinaitwa 7 Keys to Success, ama kuna kanuni funguo 7 if you like it, ambazo zitakuletea ushindi na kufaulu maishani. Wote, wewe na mimi, tunataka kufaulu, lakini pia kuna njia ya kufaulu. Ukisoma hiki kitabu ambacho nilikiandika kwa kufanya utafiti, kwa maombi mengi, kuangalia neno la Mungu, I have no doubt ya kwamba hiki kitabu kitabadilisha maisha yako. Nilikuwa naongea na mchungaji rafiki yangu, akaniambia nilisoma hicho kitabu, sasa ninafundisha watu wangu kupitia ujuzi, maarifa, hekima ambayo nilipata kwa hiki kitabu. Kwa hivyo unaweza pia nunulia watu wengine, na akaniambia alinunulia hata viongozi wake, na wamekuwa wakisoma, wakaweka kwa library yao, wanasoma hiki kitabu. Sina mashaka, nina uhakika itabadilisha maisha yako na utabarikiwa. Tuma message ama upige simu kwa hiyo namba, na naweza kuwasiliana na wewe, na utapata hiki kitabu, utatumiwa, usome na ubariki pia watu wengine. Asante. Mungu akubariki unaposoma 7 Keys to Success, and you will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you once again for staying tuned to Kingdom Business Network. We are discussing with Geoffrey Kilonzo, pastor, and we had a wonderful first session. And I'm also glad for the many people who are listening to us. I already have communication from Rehema from Juja, who is saying, I'm loving your show, Daktari. Kudos. And we want many of you to watch. So tag your friends, let them come and listen to the second half. And in case you've not sent your question, please do send your question, because Kilonzo here will answer your question. We had a question that Enoch asked you about the mental blocks before starting a business. Maybe you can pick up from there.
Yeah. So the mental blocks, when you say mental blocks, these are hindrances, that hinder you either before starting or after starting. And so we can have the two segments. I'll start with the first one. Before starting, what can hinder you from starting? And the first one is what I call the perception blocks. Perception blocks is when you perceive, it's like stereotyping. When you say entrepreneurship is not for me, is for others, or from our community, we are not entrepreneurial, right? Or, in this country, we have that kind of challenge where we say business is not for some of the communities, business is for another community. That's stereotyping. So that becomes a perception block. If you want to overcome that perception block, you need to know that you have potential in you that you can work on. So perception block is one of them, and it limits many people. Number two is emotions. You don't go into entrepreneurship emotionally. Entrepreneurship is a mindset, is a frame of mind that you develop, that you know that I want to do this. So when you go to a business emotionally, either because you've lost your business and you've lost a job and you go into it emotionally, you will hit blocks. You will actually not move far. So you need to overcome that. Another thing is about cultural blocks. Culture can hinder you. Culture frames us. It's just like school. Our experience, where we are coming from, the people that we lived with, modeled our mindset, modeled the way we think. And so when you have that cultural background where your family was not entrepreneurial, everybody was employed, it can become a block. And so you have to deal with that. You have to break it and think further. Environment. Environment is something else that can hinder you. Who do you relate with? Who do you work with? Someone said, if you are a summation of the 5 people you keep within your circle. If you want to know who you are, look around the people you keep around. So your environment defines who you become. So your block can be actually defined by the people you keep around. If you relate with people who are entrepreneurial or enterprising in nature, you'll become enterprising in nature. When you relate with people who just want to sit back and do nothing and complain the whole day, that's what you become. You become a whiner, you become a complainer, and nothing will come out from you. So those are some of the blocks. And another thing is intellectual block. Being, intellectual, either too much or too low, can become a block. People who have been to school, in fact, I will surprise you, that people who have been to school, gone through education levels, they become poor entrepreneurs. And there's a book by Robert Kiyosaki that says why A students work for C students and why the B students work for government. And it was simply saying intellect can hinder you from actually becoming an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship also talks about lean startup. You may want to go down and start from small levels. Intellectual people have that problem, that they don't want to start small. They want to start up there, do big things, and they realize
they want to start with a very big office, big chair.
And they want people to know they
don't want to go out there and walk the streets and
that's not entrepreneurship. And that's why they crash and they are completely finished. So you may want to start with baby steps. And so intellect, you must break down your knowledge and start like a baby. Baby steps. Much as you have a PhD, much as you have a master's, you may want to actually start from scratch. Successful business people have proven to be the ones that struggled in school. Why? Because they know everything for them has to come with hard work. All right. So lack of education can also be a block. So too much or too little can be a block.
Yeah.
When you have it enough, you can use it for your to your advantage. When you don't have it, I advise people, don't ignore education. Go for training, seek professional support and advice, because it can be a block for you. If you don't know how to do cash flow management, you can't run business. And cash flow management, you don't have to be an accountant. You simply need to know how money comes in, how money goes out of your business. Some basic knowledge is very important. Then expressive blocks. Expressive blocks is when you're not able to communicate, because entrepreneurship is about selling. I have a business. If I can't sell, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So if you have an expressive block, it means you can't express yourself. You can't. Where's kujitetea? You know that's the Swahili word. You could, in business is kujitetea. You send yourself out there. You sell your business. You sell yourself. Sometimes people buy you before they buy your business, and so you must overcome the expressive block. Can you sell? Can you talk? And this is not about language. It's about who you are targeting. You may have a business that requires vernacular communication. You may have a business that requires you to be on social media. You may have a business that requires you to be on media. So wherever you need to be, you must be able to express yourself. So those are some of the mental blocks. Now, another block is what I call the reasons people start or not start a business. And one of them is the withdrawal status. Withdrawal status is when your status has been withdrawn. Okay, and I'll give a good example of the Somali community, the Jewish community, and also the internally displaced people, people in the camps, called the refugee camps. Their status was withdrawn. The majority of these people are displaced. Now you realize the people who become very entrepreneurial are people whose status was withdrawn. And they have nothing. Some of them don't even have papers to go to look for a job. And that's why the Asian community, we say this an entrepreneurial community. It's very hard and to find an Asian employed in an office somewhere, because majority don't even have the papers to access that job. So what happens is when your status is withdrawn, there are things that happen. You either become, and these are personalities that are developed by withdrawal status, you either become a retreatist. You retreat to yourself and do nothing about it. And retreatists are people who take a safe ground and say, let me just be comfortable with my poverty. I don't want to disturb the status quo. But there are people who become activists. And you know, we now have a lot of that now. So when your status is withdrawn, you're jobless, you become an activist. You want to fight everybody, you want to shout and you want to make noise, and you hate everybody around you. Because activists, and I'm not defining the political situation right now, activists want to blame someone else for their misfortunes. But that is just because your status is withdrawn. But you can do something about it. If you are not a retreatist, because retreatists say, I'm not an activist, I don't want to make noise, I don't want to do anything, I'll sit back.
Are those who have really given up on life?
Exactly. You tell them to go out and they're telling you where. There are no jobs. You know, where? Start a business. The economy is bad. You know,
they always have a reason.
They have a reason why. They're the ones that you say they say outside there's a lion.
Yes,
you know, that's a scripture. And the ones who say outside there's a lion,
so they continue sleeping.
They continue sleeping. And the Bible says poverty comes like actually a bandit. Like a bandit. It will crush them. So when you are not a retreatist to become an activist, but you can become the third person who is an innovator. When your status is withdrawn, and instead of having it as a mental block, you innovate. It's like being thrown into a pit. Instead of sitting back and say, okay, I'm in, so let me just wait to die. These gentlemen who were the lepers, remember in the book of 2 Kings, they sat and said, if we sit here, we will die. If we go, we will die. So which one is better?
But at least when we go, we have a chance.
We have a chance.
They might.
Would rather die going than sit here, but we still have a chance. And when they took the first step, and I like this because when they took the first step, God also checks him. And this is a message also to our Christian community, because a lot of believers, many believers are sitting back and taking prayer as an excuse. Prayer is not an excuse.
So it's always we are praying about it.
You're praying about it. Oh, what is that? I'm waiting upon the Lord.
Yeah.
Waiting upon who?
Yeah.
The Lord said, come. It is the one who said first, come. So God does not come until you come. That's a principle. So if you're waiting upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord doing something, because he will meet you at that point. And this story of the lepers actually defines exactly that. So when they took the first step, the Bible says God amplified their steps. And the Assyrian army thought it was a huge army. In fact, the Bible says they thought the king of Israel has hired the armies to come against us. So when you break this mental block, don't retreat, don't become an activist, be an innovator. Find a way out of it. I'm jobless. So what? Find a way out. I've been, my parents did not give me education. So what? Find a way out. And the best way to find out how to solve it is become innovative. And so that is very important. So that is just about mental blocks. You overcome those mental blocks by dealing with them. When you have started, what are the blocks that you should be aware of? Number one is a block of wanting to grow fast. And this is something I've seen in so many people. They want
to be overnight millionaires.
This is it. I have started a business, tomorrow it should pay me $1 million. It should pay me 100,000. No. Business is a journey. So overcome that block of immediate success. Number two is laziness.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship is work. You have to put in your best. You have to wake up early. Some of the people I think it's someone said the people you admire out there don't do things like you do. They don't sleep like you do. They don't read like you do. They do things differently.
Yes.
And you must know what made this person succeed. Don't just paint every successful person as using magic powers.
Or as corrupt.
Or as
he's
corrupt.
told somewhere.
Actually, that's the word. Everybody's corrupt. You're driving a nice car, that's a corrupt car.
Some people say you go underwater.
Underwater powers. And Christians are very good at that.
Oh my God.
This is juju, this is kamote. No, there are people who work genuinely hard and they earn their money. So it's good to go out there and think, how can I work hard? How much do they sleep? What time do they wake up? How much do they read?
How focused are they in what they do?
Exactly. Because you can't, again, be everywhere and you want to succeed. So those are mental blocks that you have to overcome. There are people who work hard, and working hard is way of success. So if you have started a business, first grow organically. Don't expect a midnight miracle. Again, study, work hard. Make sure that you're growing through the process. And then the other thing is, know your business. Understand your business. You cannot succeed in what you don't understand. And day and night, you must be putting in your effort to study and understand your business. Someone may say, but I can learn through the process. Then if you have to learn through the process, put in work to learn. Go back to school. Know what you study. Be mentored. In this country and Africa, we don't like mentorship. We don't like submitting to people. We
don't like somebody telling us that we are wrong.
Exactly.
In fact, actually, when you try and tell many of the people today to improve on something, they block.
They block.
Actually, they'll even hate you.
Exactly.
Simply because you're telling them that they didn't do something right.
Yes.
And you're helping them.
You are helping them. Someone must tell the king is naked. So you and I love this, because if you don't have someone who can call you out and tell you, look, Enoch, you're messed up. You're messed up. If you don't have someone who can tell you, and we like keeping sycophants around us.
Yes.
And that is what is crippling a lot of our businesses. So you want someone who is clapping for you even when you're going wrong.
Yeah.
They clap for you when you're making wrong mistakes. No, someone should tell you, look, you're broke. That's the truth. Someone must tell you, look, your business is going to collapse. So mentorship. Expose yourself. Have someone you can expose your nakedness to, and tell them, look, I'm seriously in debt. I need a solution. And they can tell you, look, move from the house that you are in. You're spending a lot on yourself. Stop going for holidays. Stop this. So mentorship is very important. And that is one of the ways. So I'm giving a block and a solution. And finally, you must understand business management. You can't run away from that.
Can't run away from that.
That's it.
Wonderful. Now, let's take a few questions from our viewers. And once again, viewers, thank you very much for sending so many questions to us. And we're still taking more questions. Please, using the numbers on the screen, send those questions. The first person is from Zimmerman. He's Samson.
Okay.
Samson is saying, good conversation today, Doc. Can a food truck do well since the competition is not that much? What should I be prepared for, or what should be your advice?
A food truck since competition. Now, let me deal with the competition, because this is not about the business.
Yeah.
It's about competition. How do you deal with competition? When you realize there's a cutthroat competition, then you must start defining your value. When you go into business, sometimes we duplicate or we copy paste ideas. Before copy pasting the idea, define your value, define what your value proposition is. And when you sell, you will sell value. Because we may be many of us in the same business, but people will come to a particular business because of the value they get. So he doesn't have to run away from competition. And actually, competition is good because it helps you to keep thinking ahead. And you've gone to some places, a mall, and you find salons on the same line, in the same line. One here, another one there, another one. And they're all busy. You go to another place, you find similar businesses. You go to meat points. You find meat point here, another one here, another one here. So you don't run away. In fact, the best way to do business is to run it where others are running it.
Yeah.
And because there is already an existing market. So he needs to define his value. What value is he giving the customers? And then begin talking about that value, start building on that value. Value can be on the process. What is the process of his, how has he organized his business to give customers value? And I'll give an example of KFC, for example. KFC, there's one along Thika Road. Everybody would step out, go to the counter, and be served from there. And realize there's some people who are coming from work, or it's a Sunday, and you don't want to step out of the car. So what do? They change the process.
They change the process, yes.
You can drive through.
There's
Order
a drive-through,
here.
yeah.
There's a drive-through. That's innovation. You define value, and you capture the same customers, but those that want a different way. So his business doesn't have to change. He needs to understand what value. Why do customers come to him? Or why should they come to him and not his competitors? Build on that, capitalize on that. He can become successful on that. So changing the business may not be the solution. If he has to change, he can also change location. Location means, can he identify a different market where his business is needed? Because there's a reason he started it. So let's also identify, is it a target market that he's gotten wrong? Or is it the process? Or is it also the product packaging? I'm talking about the 7 pieces, the marketing mix.
Yeah.
Can he innovate his packaging a bit and give something extra or give something different from what the others are offering? Also, the people he's working with, maybe he has employees that he needs to work on. Customers may run away because of the people you're working with. Either they're not good customers, they don't have good customer service, or something like that. Then also physical evidence. Is he feasible to the market? Has he branded himself in a manner that he can be identified? You see, if we come here and we have cups that are just the same, you can pick any.
Yeah.
But if you have branded cups and you told me, pick a cup that you want, I can pick a brand. So he also needs to work on his brand, and maybe customers will identify him.
Wonderful.
And that's what I say.
And I think just to add on that, competition will always be there.
It will always be.
And what I've realized that in this day and age, a lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs. And because of that, there's a lot of competition.
A lot.
So therefore, the differentiating factor is no longer whether there's competition or not, but it's a value proposition. So if you work on your value proposition, which is within your control.
Exactly.
You see, your competitors are not within your control because you can't stop Karaoke or Njoroge from opening another food truck.
It's a free market.
They'll do that. So, but you can make your product far better than any other product by doing a better value proposition.
Exactly.
I'm Joan and tuned in to the show. I'm an independent consultant. but I feel I can do much outside consulting firms. Is it advisable to mix my expertise with other businesses?
Okay. Those are two things. One is her consultancy.
Yes.
Two is a diversification.
Yeah.
And as I answer that, I remember something about the food truck, about understanding the market. He may also, this is not for her, the other gentleman.
It's not for Joan, this is for Samson.
Yeah, you may also want to do some market survey and know what customers want. I think I just wanted to mention that. Now for Joan, consultancy is, and again, you need to define consultancy based on the pyramid that I talked about. Are you a self-employed consultant or are you an entrepreneur consultant? Because those are two different.
She says she's an independent consultant.
Independent. So entrepreneur consultant is one who goes out to look for business and then gets people to work on it. Okay, so you're busy looking for opportunities. You tender, you go for bids and all that.
Yeah.
That is number one. So, and consultants is very competitive.
Yeah.
Because every expert now is becoming a consultant. People, doctors are becoming consultants, architects are becoming, trainers are consultant, everybody. And it's becoming like a retirement plan for many. So be very innovative even in your consultancy. Again, value. What value are you giving as a consultant? About diversification, most definitely yes. Why not diversify? Because if you realize you have time, that is that you're not utilizing, you can do something else. I am a consultant. I preach. I write books. I have my own businesses. I am actually in real estate. I'm into training. So you can diversify as much as you can handle. And as you diversify, always look at your ability and potential. So for me, I think it's something that she can do. Diversification is always good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm a freelance writer, but the business is not giving. And there are strategies I can use to find clients. Nitalala nja. I don't think you will. We'll give you a solution.
Freelance writing is good. But now look at where the world is going to, technology, blogging, you know, and you have to be very strategic about it. So she can scale that up, you know, and make it a business. And freelance, like I started with freelance writing. I used to write on magazines and newspapers, but then I realized, hold on, I can actually write books. I did books. Now I've moved books to an academy. I have an online academy where my books are now courses that you can take up online. So you can still grow, she can grow through freelance writing and establish it as a business. But also if she realizes that one is not working, go back to yourself, retrospect. How can you do more than just freelance writing? So that's not my area as much as an author, but maybe you can tell us something about that. Dr.
You talked about blogging and all that.
Blogging, yes. Yeah. Blogging, you know, there's vlogging now, there's blogging. So you can write articles and sell. Because many freelance writers, they write and they sell to newspapers or write to media stations. And so she can do that. And she needs to have a network enough. Then number two, freelance writing needs to be focused. What exactly are you writing about? You've seen people like Chamwanda, Alex Chamwanda. I can use that as an example. He identified a very specific niche and said, I'll do diaspora, you know. And he has grown that to almost what he does now. There are people who have done investigative journalism. So what exactly are you good at? Can people identify you with a specific strength and you market yourself with that? So back to value proposition, sell value, and you can always stand out.
And I've seen another way that people are now utilizing to expand the scope of what they do, especially in writing, using AI.
This is it.
Because with the AI now, it's limitless. You have a little bit of knowledge in terms of freelance writing. You can use ChatGPT, put the right prompts. You call it prompt engineering, and you can almost now write almost on anything.
Anything. That's
and
true.
with that little knowledge that you had on freelance writing, you can actually expand to other areas.
Exactly.
And then open a blog, open some video channels like even YouTube, and combine all these ideas, and you'll be able to achieve something.
Agreed.
Somebody is in the catering industry, says my catering business is not doing that well.
Catering,
yes. Sipati wateja sana kama kitambo. That is everyone of us is experiencing that. Yeah, I have done everything, including reducing menu prices. My food is also tasty, but kuna shida mahali yenye sijui. Anything you can mention on this?
Interesting. Yeah, like you said, everybody goes through that.
Yeah.
And businesses have have cycles. And the business cycle is when you go into a market, you may get a surge of customers because you are new in the market and people like new things. You may cheat yourself to think those are your customers, but people just want to test. Are you different from the others? And so that surge sometimes goes down, and it's a cycle. When it goes down, you may need to identify again, why did they come in the first place? The one that remained, when did they remain? Now, that is number one. But number two, it's good to gap identify or gap assess your business. What are my gaps as a business? Are my gaps on customer service? Are my gaps on revenue on channels? Are my gaps on my costing? Because you may be facing a challenge because of not understanding your business problems. So she needs to do it. I'm looking for this medical word, diagnose.
Diagnose, yeah.
She may need to diagnose her business or ask for a professional to diagnose her business and look at what are the challenges. Because if there's a market, and that is what she has not said, if there's a market, then what is the challenge? Do a diagnosis. If there is no market, you may be in the wrong location, you may be targeting the wrong people.
Yes.
Because targeting is also about levels of customers.
Yeah.
Are you targeting affordable food, medium food, quality? Are you selling price? Because she's talking about lowering price. Please, may I mention this? Lowering price may not always be the solution.
Exactly.
Don't be tempted. You may lower prices and people will actually suspect you've also lowered quality.
Yeah.
So don't rush to lowering price. It might be value issue. And when there's value, people want to pay more. People buy iPhones. They're expensive. But what are they buying? Value.
The value.
Someone who goes to buy a Lamborghini, a Mercedes-Benz, a Range Rover, will not complain about price. So anybody complaining about price, they don't know what they want. But if someone is looking for value, they will pay for that value. So let her know who is she targeting. Is it a cheap or affordable customers, or is it about value, and work on that. So diagnosis is what I would advise.
And I'm also thinking about the presentation. You see,
Yep.
you might decide to lower price, but might be the issue is the way you present your food,
Packaging.
or the ambience of your restaurant.
Exactly.
So maybe you need to look at your ambience, look
Yeah.
at your presentation of what you're offering, and the service.
Yeah.
Because some people who go and pay, let's say, buy a chicken, for example, at Kempinski
Yes.
or which one of these major hotels, they pay might be 10 times more for the same chicken, because a chicken is a chicken. It might have come from the same farm.
True.
One chicken went to Kempinski, another went to a local restaurant in Kasarani or Zimmerman, wherever that place is.
Yes.
One is selling at might be 1,000 shillings. The other one is selling at 5,000 shillings.
Sure.
So what is the difference? It's the ambience,
Ambience.
the presentation, the service, the cleanness, and all that. So the other issues apart from price that you can work on.
Then they say cock is cock.
Yeah.
But cock in Serena is not cock in River Road.
The price is different.
The price is different.
Exactly.
The ambience.
Yeah, the ambience, yeah. So again now, let's go to another question here, because I think we are running out of time.
She can also share her contacts.
Yeah.
Maybe something we can assist.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We have so many questions here, Pastor Kilonzo, that we can't even be able to answer all of them. But I believe next time we'll pick some of these questions and address them. So in case we don't answer your question today, we'll pick them next week with same time with Pastor Kilonzo. Okay. Let's do one last one. And there's a person here who's saying, do I need to have skills to start a floral design business for selling flowers? What should I do to be successful, Pastor? I'm Naomi. Might be take 2 minutes.
Do I need skills? Most definitely. You know,
floral design.
Even by just mentioning floral designs, I'm like, I can't do that because I'm not skilled. So skills is one of the most important things that you need as an entrepreneur. And one of the challenges to answer her in a very high level, manner, is skilling is key. If you start anything called a business today, learn skills around that.
Yeah.
If you're not skilled, it's your first downfall. Because people want to see, when you touch a flower, how are you handling it? Do you understand how to package it? And that's skill. So she needs skills, most definitely. She may get skilled in 2 ways. Go to school, okay, do that course, if there is one, or work under someone who does the same business and learn on, we call it apprenticeship. You can sit under someone over a period of time and learn to do it. And this is something I would advise young people. Be willing to sit under someone and learn, because that can help you a lot. We mostly we do things better that we have seen people do, because there are things that can be learned through observation. They are caught, they are not taught. So that's what I can advise.
Let me take one last one, because you can take a minute on this.
No problem.
How can I build a strong network of my new business to ensure it is running smoothly?
Strong network. Networks are found through networking. I mean,
Okay.
you must know where to network.
Yes.
There are so many clubs nowadays that you can network. You can, depending on what level you want, you can become a Rotary member. You can become a Business Networking International member. You can still network in church. Why not? You know, I actually challenge church people, believers. Don't walk out of church running. You never know the person seated next to you might be the customer you've been looking for, or the investor you've been looking for.
We actually even have a Kingdom Business Network.
Imagine.
And you're actually watching one of our outputs. Yeah. So you can network with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Okay, Enoch, parting shots.
Thank you so much, Doc. I really enjoyed this discussion, and I tell you, we cannot really finish it. When you talk about networking, our bishop introduced a certain activity in our church, whereby he has now given room for the believers to network.
Amazing.
You know, because you can sit in a church today, and the truth is, after hearing the word, people do not network.
That's the problem.
People just run away. Yet probably your neighbor is having a key to something that you've been really struggling with.
Sometimes you're told to give a high five to your neighbor, and you look at them and what?
I mean, as if we are strangers.
And actually, I think people need to understand networking is simply just speaking about yourself
Exactly.
to the next person available.
Absolutely.
Don't ignore anybody. Whether it's in
carry your
church,
business
whether it's in
cards
a
around.
club, carry business cards.
Yes.
Talk about, we talked about personal branding.
Personal branding last time.
Where you self-promote.
Yes.
So you actually, every person you come across is a possible network.
Absolutely.
Even when you're going to a car wash, for example. I met some
network.
very important people in a car wash.
Just talk.
There's a time
you know?
I met an employee of one of my brothers at an airport. And I talked to him, and then he was telling me, how comes your brother doesn't talk like you? I told him, we are different, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, so-
in matatus, you know, we sit, and the problem is we don't like engaging.
Yeah.
Yet we are one of the most interactive communities. You sit in a matatu, you don't even say hello to someone.
Yeah.
So even the way you express a mental block, the way you express yourself, oh, I'm Geoffrey, and this is what I do.
Yeah.
You know, you also need to learn elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is how can you explain what you do in 30 seconds?
Yeah, that's seconds.
And you're done.
Yeah.
Someone can also understand what. So learn how to define yourself, package yourself, wear some branded t-shirts, carry cards, and talk.
Yeah, talk.
Sure.
And maybe out of the 10 people you talk to, you'll pick one. You don't have to pick all of them.
Exactly.
One who might really be very helpful.
That's true.
And okay.
Thank you so much. And of course, I love this discussion. I think that is why we have the Kingdom Business Network to help us express and also learn and understand. Because right now, the challenge we've been having is people have been so much introspective. I mean, they have not yet considered so much what they are able to do when they move out. They are so much into themselves.
That's true.
Yet there's so much we can really glean on. And I want to encourage the young people, this is our time. If you can, never miss the Kingdom Business Network.
Amazing.
This is our time to shine. Bring forth your ideas. He talked about Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs is a gentleman who encourages people to think differently. In fact, there's a certain quote he made, and he said that it is those people who are crazy enough to think differently that are the ones that actually change the world.
That's true.
So Kingdom Business Network is here to get you out of your comfort zone. You know, the system has not helped us. Probably we need now to consider the church. you know, the church. There is so much wealth. And I want to appreciate you, man of God.
That's true.
Thank you so much. I am looking forward for the next show.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Same
much,
here, same
Enoch.
here.
Yeah.
And don't run away from the church. The church is your friend. And the church is a place where you don't just come to go to heaven.
Yeah.
We also come to build a community.
Yes.
It's very
So, Kilonzo, you can also talk about your books
Aha,
and give us some
okay.
parting shot
Okay.
before we close the show.
Thank you. So Geoffrey Kilonzo, you can go to my social media handles. I'm on Twitter as Geoffrey Kilonzo. I'm on Instagram as Geoffrey Kilonzo. I'm on TikTok. I have more than 20 videos you can watch on TikTok, Geoffrey Kilonzo. And then LinkedIn, Facebook, all of them are my name, Geoffrey Kilonzo. I have done some books, Techniques of Entrepreneurship 1, 2, 3, on business ideation. This is one of them. There's another one on planning and funding your business. How do you raise funds for your business? And business modeling. Businesses rise and fall on models. How you model your business for profit is going to work. And there are two that are not here: competencies of an entrepreneur and the art of success. You can get these books by going maybe
you can.
my number.
Yeah.
On 0725 328 386. If you
Repeat it again.
0725 328 386, or write to me on icst@gmail.com. When you go to my handles, all my emails are available. We have a website, www.icst.ke. That's where you can find us. Thank you.
So once again, thank you very much, Geoffrey, and I'm looking forward to completing the part 2 of this discussion next week. So dear viewer, make sure you're tuned to Kingdom Business Network. We have not scratched the whole pack. We want to do more and discuss more with Geoffrey Kilonzo. He has a lot of wealth of experience in entrepreneurship, and we want to make sure that before he's out of this show, you have become an entrepreneur. And with that, may God bless you very much, and keep watching Kingdom Business Network. This is your show that gives you business tips and ideas to make sure that you are successful and you continue being committed to this program. You will learn a lot. God bless you, and thank you. Shalom.